So I'm a huge fan of paint tarps. I use them for a lot of things, mainly to cover our sofas that are similar in color from all of the dog hair, because I let the dogs on our sofas. Anyway, I have some that actually were used for paint and are a little bit funky, so I'm not going to be using them on the sofas, and so I figured I would take one and make some really fun little hearts. I love the natural look of this, so if you can see that, I made a tiny one right here, and I just stitched it with pink embroidery floss, and then I just am on the way to making this one a little bit larger right now. And all I did is I printed off, went into Canva. You can go on the internet anywhere, and you would just print off a heart shape that you like. And so I like this shape, and I am going to lay it down on my tarp. It's folded in half, and I'm going to use a Sharpie just because I was using pencil and it was difficult to see. And I'm not even gonna draw directly where the heart is. I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger. So I am going to draw around the heart at the same distance all the way around. So it's a little bit bigger than this paper, the pink paper heart is. So first I'm going to do that. And then I am going to use my new scissors that I got for Christmas from Carmine, which has like added so much time onto my life. I have like 20 pairs of scissors and they were all terrible. So anyway, I've got these new fancy dancy scissors that cut fabric amazingly. So here is my heart. And as you can see, it is bigger than the paper heart. So next I'm going to do is I'm just actually going to cut all the way around without being real exact like this. And then I am going to cut on the orange. Now if I wanted it even bigger, I could cut around the orange just a little bit further out like I did with the paper, but I'm going to go ahead and cut pretty close to the Sharpie, to the marker. And again, this is in two, there's two pieces folded together here. So when I am done, I have two pieces, and then I can just start sewing them together. And I don't know if you can see, but as soon as I'm done cutting, I'll hold it so you can see better. So I tell you I have good scissors, and then I'm sitting here and not cutting. Here we go. I don't know about you, but I find hand stitching like incredibly relaxing. So here I go. I've got my heart. There's two layers here, and because I don't want the Sharpie showing, I'm just going to flip it so the Sharpie is on the inside facing inward. And then I'm going to start stitching these together. And again, I'm using embroidery floss, which I lost. Here we go. Embroidery floss, and actually a fairly large size needle that has a large eye, I mean. Mainly that's because I can't see, and I have a really difficult time threading needles these days. So anyway, that's what I'm starting. You can start anywhere. I am going to start going in the bottom and pulling straight through. So I will end up with a knot on the back, but you're only going to see one side of these little hearts, so it's okay. So I just come up, I take a little bit of space, and I am going right back down. And part of what I like about these is I'm not even being like exact on how big my stitches are. They're not consistent, and I'm okay with that. And the other thing you'll see in a minute is once I'm done, because of the way that I cut this right in the middle of the tarp, it will fray. So when you are stitching this, you want to stitch in a little bit. You don't want to stitch right on the edge, because then you will not only will it fray, but you will lose your stitches and it won't hold together. So you see how quickly this goes? Just this material is very easy to go in and out of with this needle. So I'm just cranking along here. And actually my stitches are kind of consistently the same size, which is a little bit of a miracle. So what I do is I go all the way around and I leave myself a pretty small hole, and then I take my cotton batting, some like polyfill that I have had left over from my fabric pumpkins that I did, and I am going to just put a little bit in. I use my finger and I push it up into the edges, and when I am done with enough batting, and I'm not making these super full, they're not pillows, they're just little cute decorations. These would be nice to make a garland with, and you could do that actually with or without stuffing them. I think they would look super cute either way, but I am going to stuff the ones that I'm making with the polyfill, and I'm going to be doing this is actually going to be part of a post where I'm sharing like a couple of different Valentine decor ideas that you could do in like absolute minutes. As you can see, this is doing this in real time, and it is a really quick process. Another thing that I'll be sharing in the same post is I went into the computer and I printed up, I just made words and statements like sayings. The main thing was I love you, I love you, I love you, and then I would mix in different things like to the moon and back, love you to the moon and back, sweetheart, hugs, be kind, and I put them on top of I printed them on top of a very faint heart, actually the same shape that I love. Sorry, I got a little tangled here. And I put it in a rustic white frame that I had, and it just is like 5-minute Valentine decor. I don't know, I can't make myself spend money on Valentine decor. Last year I took a lot of really old decor that I had that was like bright pinks and reds. They're not my favorites, so I repainted them into like really subtle light pinks and whites, and am reusing them because I had stopped using them because I didn't love the colors. So anyway, as you can see, I'm plugging along here. I'm going to go a little bit further, and then I will stop, and I will go ahead and fill it up with the polyfill, and then we will stitch it up to finish it off. Okay? Okay, so I have it stitched up, as you can see, all the way around. I've just left a small opening, probably a little smaller than is preferred. But now I'm going to take my polyfill, and I am just going to smash it in to the little hole. I do not take the thread off of the needle. I'm just going to keep it right there so then I can just continue and finish sewing. So I'm going to get some in there, and then what I'll do is just push my finger in and make it go into the top of the heart and all around, so it's distributed evenly, or however you like it. If you want to make it pretty full, you certainly can. And if for some reason you can't get it distributed inside the way you prefer or way you would like, you could take a butter knife or the end of a fork, the handle end, and just use that, a popsicle stick, anything to do what I'm doing here with my thumb, which is smashing the polyfill all the way throughout the heart. I've done this a couple of different ways, sewing it, starting in one spot and leaving a certain area open. This is the first time that I've left it open at the bottom, but I think I actually think that's the easiest, because it is not going to be super thick down here, and I think it'll be easier for me to stitch it up. Okay, so that is that's looking pretty good to me right here. So I think there's, I'm going to put one little bit more of polyfill in right at the bottom, and then I am going to stitch it together. Okay, so I've gotten all of the polyfill in that I'm interested in having in it. So now I'm going to hold the ends together and I am going to complete my stitching and finish it up, and it will be done. So a couple more stitches right here. As you can see, I started all the way up here, so I'm going to keep going. And the way that I am going to finish this off, remember we're only seeing one side of this heart in my decor. So what I'm going to do, okay, I've gone all the way around, and I'm going to turn it over where the initial knot is, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit of material, pull my thread through, make a knot. I'm going to do it one more time. Not that this is going to get a lot of heavy use and come out, but okay. I've got that done. Trim that. And as I was telling you, I'm going to trim that a little bit more. As I was telling you, the way that I cut this is going to fray a little bit. So you can see that it will unravel a little bit. You can make it more than it's doing naturally. Like, I don't want those tall pieces hanging off, but so here we go. Now I have two. One's a little bit bigger than the other. And then I have another that I'm gonna sew up and add to my decor. And again, remember, you could stitch these together with some twine or attach them with hot glue to twine and make yourself a garland. They can just sit, like for example, you could have a little teacup full of hearts, or however you want to display them. It's up to you.